Yep, once again, we are doing another pre-recorded episode. Hopefully our last one, actually. Because as this is going live, we're going to be out of here. We're going to be gone. We're going to be halfway, probably, to our new residence. And hopefully we'll be able to actually start live streaming again.
I won't be on screen for a hot fucking minute.
And it took less than 3 minutes for him to start dropping F-bombs.
Didn't take long.
I am genuinely not going to miss you.
You say that now, but we all know you will.
Anyway, so...
I am going to miss you.
Bear, every once in a while I need you to take that recording of that F-bomb and just like place it randomly through a live. Just like a recording, just like... If it feels I will say an F-bomb right then and there, just hit a button where it just says fuck.
Put up a little picture of Jesus in loving memory. Which, I mean, would be a lie. But, anyway. So, we're actually going to be trying to do a regular episode tonight, actually. Talking about cryptids. Specifically, we're going to be talking about worm cryptids. We're getting down in the creepy crawly stuff. Because apparently we've actually had some people say it's like, you don't talk about cryptids anymore. You know, it's like, okay. To be fair, yeah.
I was going to bring that up too. I haven't done Cryptids of America in a minute.
Yeah, we haven't. We still have. Yeah, somebody was going to get us a
I'm
map.
still working on it. Leave me alone.
Does it count as working on it if you haven't started?
To be fair, I asked you what software you use.
I don't even know what software I'm using a tablet. I just found something and I'm just fucking messing with it.
Oh. See, I have a map for you. But
Anyway.
I
Now
think you sent it to me earlier.
Now, this first one is a bit weird because a lot of people argue it doesn't count as a cryptid. It's a mythological creature because of how old it is. And actually, it's odd. It's very prevalent. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't think that. You wouldn't notice it. But I'm talking, of course, about... Watch me get this horribly wrong. The Tetzel worm. Also known as the Tetzel worm. Or, if you are Swiss, the Stollen worm. Stop breaking things.
I don't break things. I fix things.
Yeah, right.
you fix them till they're broken.
Anyway, now, for those of you who don't
Fix
know
them
what...
until they're better.
Yeah, you fix them until there's multiple pieces of them.
What does the government say? If it ain't broken, we'll fix it till it is.
Anyway, though,
Oops.
so
It's
these
called
creatures...
government certified grade, okay?
Now, these creatures do have a few different other names. One that I learned is that they are sometimes referred to as mine dragons. Now, the creature itself is very unassuming. And... I'm okay.
Are you sick?
No, I was choking. Anyway. Like I said, these creatures are very prevalent actually throughout medieval artwork. The beauty of a pre-recorded video, we can cut that.
No.
They are very prevalent in medieval artwork, actually. And even like statues and things like that. These were very popular creatures. There's not a lot about them as far as like the cryptid sightings and stuff, though those are kind of terrifying, actually. So the Tetzel worm is described as being a reptile, but it has a feline-like head, and depending on what part of the world you're in, they have 2 stubby front legs, 4 legs, or 6 legs. And they are prevalent throughout the Alpine mountains. So basically all through Central Europe. Most commonly they're known in Switzerland and Italy, specifically. But they are in artwork all over the place. The French were actually very fond of drawing them.
No one cares about the French.
But anyway, and again, they had different names all over the place. Probably the strangest one is their French name, the RSS. Yeah, I have no idea why. But, no, there's all kinds of artwork and statues of them. Depending on where you are, they vary in size. They go from being just a foot long to 7 feet long, supposedly. And in most places, they have this horrible, deafening scream. They can screech at you so bad that, like, it'll make your ears bleed and stuff like that.
Like your mother-in-law.
But they're largely harmless. They're a creature that is very frightful of people, and pretty quickly they'll try and run away from you. Unless
You have an elephant gun and you can just shoot it and then put it on your wall.
no, unless
Start a
you're
whole franchise of a movie.
no, unless you're specifically Swedish.
Wait. They have a thing against the Swedish?
So the Swiss version of the Tatzelworm, not only can scream so loud it can cause deafness, but it also has a potent poison that it can spit. It can also unhinge its jaw and likes to eat things like a snake.
It just sounds like a giant ass snake.
With front legs and a cat-like head.
Someone was drunk when they saw this.
Funny you should mention that. Because, again, these creatures appear constantly in, like, artwork and are mentioned all the time in medieval ages. Every other knight has a story about fighting one or something at one point or another. I mean, it's kind of sad. The things seem to get picked on by anybody who has a sharp piece of metal. In fact, some artwork of St. George even depict him fighting a Tatzelworm, as opposed to a normal dragon like he fought. But anyway.
It's probably easier to freaking draw or sculpt.
Yeah, I mean, a snake with little stubby front legs, not that hard. But anyway, one of the most famous sightings was in, let me see here. Let me find it real quick. Here we go. 1779 was actually one sighting. A farmer from Italy, he literally filed a grievance with his landlord because he claimed that a Tatzelworm attacked his pig while he was taking it out to hunt for truffles. In his official report, he claimed that a Tatzelworm came up out of a hole in the ground and proceeded to grab and literally inhale his prized truffle-sniffing pig. He, again, filed a complaint with his landlord because his landlord neglected to mention that there were pig-swallowing snake cat monsters.
That sounds like a Karen. Oh my god, the medieval Karen. I want to speak to your manager.
Well, now see, hold on. I do have to pose the question though. To be fair, if there is a creature living on my the property that I am renting, and it is able to ingest a whole fully grown pig, I feel like I should be made aware of that before I sign any kind of contract. I kind of have to side with the farmer here. Now, did his prized truffle-sniffing pig actually get eaten by a cat snake from hell?
I'm gonna go where the pig got tired of his bullshit and just fucking left. And then he's like, well, I just can't say I lost an animal like that. Let me go lie and be a carrot. A medieval carrot. No, a medieval Kyle. Because he's a farmer. And he's a guy. Therefore, he is a Kyle.
Henrich Duby.
Yep, Kyle.
No, this is another guy. Henrich Duby also had accounts of Tetzel worms in Switzerland, where he claimed he was a hunter. He could hunt them and get rid of them.
I'm fucking Batman.
No, he claimed that he had ways to lure them out of... Because, okay, so in the more modern times, these creatures live in little holes in the ground. And they just pop up like a graboid to grab some kind of food and drag it back into their tunnel like a trapdoor spider
Watch
kind
this
of.
be the origin of the graboids. This is where they took the inspiration.
That's where they got the idea for one.
Yeah.
Well, these things
And
aren't
the
very
ice
big.
blasters.
I knew the second that I mentioned graboids, he would mention the ass blasters just because he wants the excuse to say ass blaster.
They're the best ones.
They're the worst.
And have the best fucking name.
Have the best name.
Allow me to introduce you to Jesus, a 9-year-old trapped in a grown man's body.
Fuck you, that's every man.
It's even better because you don't get that reference. Anyway, so, no, he claimed, our boy, Heinrich Duby, he claimed that he knew a secret to get them to come out of their tunnels so they could catch him. He claimed that pasteurized cow milk was a... How do I put this nicely? Tetzel worms really, really like the smell of pasteurized milk. If you know what I mean, and I think you do.
I like my ham.
Yeah. He also claimed that white roosters made great bait. Why? I don't know, but hey, I mean...
Everybody likes chicken.
I guess. I mean, something must have worked for him because apparently, no, he became kind of considered an expert on the matter.
Did he show anybody any bodies of these creatures?
Supposedly, no, he caught them and he claimed to get rid of them, but he...
Then he's a lying piece of shit. Either you show the body, or you lie.
He would often bring back pieces. The only way to safely get rid of a Tetzel worm is to hack it up into tiny pieces, apparently.
Excuses.
Yeah.
Cut his goddamn head off. Most creatures die after a little bit after you cut their head off, except for cockroaches. But we don't talk about that.
It is kind of funny, too, because he is considered, although he, like, made a kind of career out of it, a lot of people do say he is not the most significant source of information about the Tetzel worms, which is a nice way to say
He's a lying piece of shit.
a lot of people think he was a charlatan. Now,
Back then, everyone had their designated role. The town idiot. He was the town drunk. He was a town liar.
the town life. No, someone that is widely considered actually to be an expert on the topic was Johann Rodolph Wass. I'm almost certainly getting that wrong. He actually is the one who basically brought the legends to a modern example. The image of the Tetzel worm is based off of his drawings of how would this creature actually exist, going off of medieval stories and things like that. Although he claimed that there were actually 2 species of Tetzel worm, although these could also be differences of male and female. But there are some, and I'll quote him, there are pale-skinned ones or white ones who have a sort of crest or crown on top of their head, and he thought maybe those were the males. And then there are a more common black or dark-skinned Tetzel worm that he thought could most likely have been the females. But, Yeah, no, he wrote multiple books about these creatures. And even claimed that actually there were lots of different species of them, including there were some that were hairy, there were some that had 4 legs, there were some that had 2. He claimed the common ones that were through most of Europe were reptilian and only had the 2 front legs. But he acknowledged that there were other creatures like Tetzel worms.
Oh, look, a shiny. An original.
But no, the Tetzel worm is weird because in terms of like witness accounts, it is one of the most documented cryptids ever. Because again, there is tons and tons of medieval artwork depicting them. And again, every other night, oh yeah, no, I totally got a Tetzel worm. Yeah, no, I bagged. Well, I mean, yeah, no, I poked it with a sharp metal stick from my horseback. Of course it is. Yeah, they're all over the damn place. You can't take 10 steps. But the problem is that modernly there really isn't that much. And it's interesting is that it's been dropping more and more. Because in the 1700s there were people who literally wrote books about them. 1800s not as much, 1900s even less. And I mean, in all sincerity, because we're going to be in the chat talking live with you guys watching this, be honest, chat. Who here has even heard of a Tetzel worm before
Who here
this?
needs to go outside and go touch some grass?
You haven't.
I have.
I like to pet.
I don't
I like to
believe
pet
you.
the
In
I
this
walk
place.
by brother's dog all the time. You make it sound like I don't touch grass.
I'm
Go
talking about
outside.
Tetzel worms.
I like to pet the greens.
I guarantee you've never heard the term before.
Oh, fuck no. But again, go touch some grass.
Anyway,
You go just touch the grass and it's happy.
There, you go find a Tetzel worm when you go touch the grass.
I mean, you might.
And then you can brag about it on the next episode.
Yeah, no.
We all need to go and touch some grass.
That
It's
means
true, we
something
really
very.
do.
That means something very different in Colorado. Anyway, though, I guarantee either my dad or your dad is going to be in the chat, be like, "Oh, I've seen one. I've seen a Tetzel worm." If there was any person
No, I don't think.
that would claim to have seen a Tetzel worm, it would be one of our dads.
No.
I'm not saying it'd be true. I'm saying one of them would.
Your dad a liar?
But yeah, my dad would tell the truth.
It's not a
I'm
lie. It's a
assuming
tall
your
tale.
Dad would too.
There's a difference between a lie and a tall tale. Saying that you saw a
No,
cryptid
no.
is not the same thing necessarily as a lie. A lie, for example, is saying that there's anything redeemable about you. Saying that you saw Bigfoot is a tall tale.
redeemable.
That's like what
No. There's a difference between a tall tale and a lie.
a Tetzel worm in America.
Seeing a Tetzel worm,
in the South.
yes. Well, actually, hold on. Okay, so they're supposedly they're all along the Alps. Those are mountains.
Yeah, that's Europe.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like, where would the equivalent be, like
The
environment
Rocky
wise?
The Rocky Mountains.
The Rockies?
Slide rock boulders, which we talked about.
See, they kind of,
You also have to realize the Rocky Mountains, like, they're not just here. Like,
I'm saying environment wise,
it would probably
where
be the
would
Rocky
be
Mountains.
something similar to
The
what
Rocky
about
Mountains
the,
up in Canada?
The equivalent.
Where your
would
dad?
be-
Rocky Mountains towards Canada.
the Ozark?
Yeah. My dad's in the Ozarks.
I'm
yeah.
saying, would the Ozarks be a similar environment to the Alps?
That would be a little south. No, yeah.
Rockies?
Towards Canada.
If I'm right, it is the Alps are like southern Canada. So yeah.
So,
And the Ozarks are more warmer
yeah, okay.
than like Switzerland.
Yeah, but these things are also found like down in Italy.
That is more.
See,
Yeah,
the
that is
Rocky
more
Mountains,
Rocky
because the
Mountains.
Rocky
The
Mountains go
Rockies?
from Canada
yeah.
through the U.S. towards into Mexico.
So if
and
this
down
thing,
into Mexico and they break off into the ocean about
Yeah.
South America. So
yeah.
slide rock boulders would be.
Well, slide rock
kind of
bolters
equivalent.
are kind of like a Tetzel worm, just huge. Well, no, bolters don't have front legs.
So that's. Hold on. We don't have internet right now.
I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, a Tetzel worm.
Whatever photo you
Could
bring
live-
up, send it to me.
I'm just saying, like, a Tetzel worm could live in North America. There are similar environments. You could, I mean, again, the Ozarks might be a bit too warm, but like the Rockies, yeah, they could easily thrive up in the Rockies.
See, I'm just going off the top of my head. Global wise,
Environmentally speaking, like we'd need something similar to the Alps.
Switzerland is like Washington, Lower Canada, I think.
Okay.
Watch me be like horribly wrong. I'm getting on the internet right now to like look at this. Italy would be more Colorado, and Colorado is the slide rock boulders.
Yeah, which again are
And the big
kind of similar
worms.
to they're a really big worm. Is that what it is? Do Tetzel worms just evolve into bolters,
I'm telling you, man.
like a cryptid Pokemon?
And
No,
just, like,
no, like tremors.
there are different forms of tremors depending on where you are in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just found a new species of orcas up at the Arctic.
Yeah, but yeah, the point I'm making is that yeah, somebody from North America could claim to see a Tetzel worm. There are places with similar environments to the Alpine mountains, so yeah. But anyway, this does have to be a shorter video, so we're gonna have to move on while you look up the region.
Yeah, it's still loading, and that's a testament to how when we had our internet shut off.
Yeah. Now,
we don't have internet, so
this one is interesting because I would argue that this next cryptid might have the most reputable account ever. Like, of all the people throughout history that could speak and vouch for the existence of this creature, I don't think anyone comes close to this bad boy. And I'm willing to bet a lot of people have already guessed this one, and I'm going to bet that in the chat there's going to be multiple people who have already mentioned this creature.
The Mothman?
Why would we talk about Mothman on a night talking about worms?
I don't know.
I'm talking, of course, about the legendary, the infamous, the original graboid, the Mongolian deathworm. Found exclusively in the Gobi, it's pronounced Gobi, right?
yeah.
Gobi Desert, thank you. The Gobi Desert. This critter is weird. It is one of the most simple cryptids ever. And I would argue it's actually probably one of the most likely to exist. Because when we talk about cryptids, we have to, burst the bubble a little bit and acknowledge how likely is, X, Y, or Z to really exist. You know what I mean? Like, the Jersey Devil is really cool, but how likely is that? How practical would that creature be existing in the real world? Especially if you subtract, like, the supernatural magic stuff from it. You know what I mean? Hey.
I'm trying to go online when I have this on my phone. I didn't even think about it. All right, let me get back to you on that.
Anyway, so the Mongolian deathworm, in stories, they vary in size from 2 to 7 feet, which, by the way, about the size of a Tetzel worm, if you're keeping track at home. And these buggers are like... They sound like something that lives in Australia. You know what I mean? You know the joke about how everything is trying to kill you in Australia? These things are like that. Offhand, they have incredibly rubbery hide that can almost not be pierced at all. They have an ability to emit an electrical shock pulse. They can spit a silk that causes rashes and infections. They can belch poison gas, and just in case you weren't dead enough yet when you confront one of these creatures, they can also spit acid. You got all that? You want some fries?
All they have to do is electroshock me. I'll be down.
Oh, no. These things have a powerful electrical shock. Now,
Yeah.
supposedly their one weakness is that all their nasty weapons, so to speak, have incredibly limited range. The electric pulse, they basically have to be touching you. Their spit and silk can only go maybe a few inches away from their mouth.
Well, they're also supposed to be about 5 feet long.
2 to 7 feet long. So yeah, 5 is the middle ground.
And this is one of those cryptids that actually has credible evidence.
It
Like,
does.
Really.
Probably the biggest name in terms of a witness account. Like, historically, nobody comes close to this. The Jersey Devil was supposedly shot at by Napoleon Bonaparte's brother, I think it was.
Yeah, Napoleon III.
Yeah,
Cousin twice removed.
something like that. But no, top this. The Mongolian death worm has a witness account from Genghis Khan himself. Yes, one of the most legendary historic warlord emperors in history had a personal experience with one of these creatures, claiming that it killed his horse. He claimed that he was out riding his horse practicing archery when he saw something stirring in the sand. Thinking that it was some wild game, he decided to draw his bow back and shoot at where the sand was moving. And that really was a bad idea because the arrow bounced off the thing's hide. It then reared up out of the sand and was almost as tall as him on his horse. So this creature rose up out of the sand. That would have to be a huge one. That would have to be 7 feet tall. Like,
Yeah, that's
more than that. To be on a horse?
5 or so, yeah.
Because Genghis Khan himself was supposedly a huge guy. He was supposedly like 6-7 feet tall himself. He's sitting on a horse. This thing had to have reared up a dozen feet to be level with a tall person on a horse.
It does.
It also depends on the type of horse you use too.
Yeah, it depends on the horse. I mean,
You know the funny thing is I guarantee if my sister's in the chat right now,
And there's-
she could tell you exactly what kind of horse he'd have been riding at the time and stuff like that. Oh, you know, but anyway.
and there is over exaggeration, even for Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's 1,000,000 feet tall. It's
Yeah,
like, oh.
but anyway. So the thing reared up out of the sand.
What I've heard is they're about 5 feet long.
Yeah.
Which is about as long as a human. That's pretty dang
Yeah.
big.
But anyway, it rose up. He tried to shoot it again. Look, I have nothing but respect for Genghis Khan. He was a massively important person historically. And in my personal opinion, actually, one of the most interesting people in history. I really like Khan. But anyway, slow learner. If you shoot something with an arrow and it bounces off of the creature, don't shoot it again!
Shoot it with a bigger arrow.
Get a bigger bow! No, he fired again, and again, the arrows didn't do a damn thing to its body. It lurched forward, and when it touched his horse dropped dead, and he himself was flung off of the horse. He was able to get away because the worm was focused on the horse after that. It didn't seem to care about him. But no, it killed his horse as soon as it touched it. And supposedly that's because of that electric pulse. That's also why he got thrown off the horse, is because the death worm's electric
What year was
shock.
That would have been like roughly.
Oh God, that would have been BC. Genghis Khan was like, yeah, no, he was BC time frame.
Let me find that out.
Okay, but anyway,
But still, it's like,
no, the death worm's electric pulse is strong enough to stop a horse's heart, and yes, supposedly it can kill a person too.
It's not hard to stop a heart.
Not really. You don't need that much of a powerful shock.
The ancient horse in Mongolia during the 11th century BC were smaller to the modern Mongolian horse breeds.
You're still on the damn horse?
Genghis Khan lived from approximately 1162 to 1227. He ruled the Mongol Empire from 1206 until his death.
Mm-hmm.
1127?
What's up?
1127?
1162 to 1227.
BC or AD?
It doesn't say AD.
Huh,
So I'm
okay.
assuming AD.
What was it?
Yeah, it's AD.
AD.
So,
And-
11 what?
1162 to 1227. And he ruled the Mongol Empire from 1206 until his death, 1227. That does say approximately, so give or take,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But anyway. No, yeah, no.
Yeah, them, would have been. They would have been small.
He's still on the damn horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like. The thing is, it doesn't matter how good of a warrior or a ruler you are, it's like you encounter something you don't know. That's going to take you down. I mean,
Yeah. And see, here's the thing though. Because a lot of people are like, well, that could have been a tall tale. He could. No. Why would Genghis Khan? Think about that for a second. Genghis Khan, one of the most brutal, feared emperors ever in human history. Why would he tell people he got his ass kicked by a worm? Unless it was the truth.
now
You wouldn't just make that up. You wouldn't just make up that you got your horse kicked off a horse by a worm.
Was he the first documented account of it?
Oh no, these things go all the way through history of as long as people have been in the region, they've been telling stories about these things.
The horses are.
Oh my
48
lack of a
to-
god.
48 to 60, 56 inches tall. So.
48 to 56 inches tall, so.
But who's
Well,
on
well-
first?
So they're like 4 feet tall. Okay.
So then, Genghis Khan was like roughly between 6 to 7.
So okay, it would have to
Okay.
be 10. That'd be about 10 feet.
10 feet. Well, take out his legs, so half him.
That's 5 plus 4. That's 9.
Okay.
So
And this raised up that much out of the ground. That's big, because
That's big for even a death worm. Because again, they're supposed to get between 2 to 7 feet tall. Most are about 5 probably.
See, the last account I heard, I want to say was about 2011, and they were 5-6 feet long in total. But
Yeah.
how would you know how big it is actually?
How
Did you see
much
the-
is still in the ground? Did you
Yeah.
pull the thing entirely out of the ground? I wouldn't try touching one.
It
I
could be
would
like
shoot one.
But how big is the horse?
See, my thing is, this is one of those cryptids. It's like Bigfoot, where it's like this one's actually possible.
Yeah,
Whereas the Jersey Devil's kind of mystic, as much as I like.
Because
the
let's be
Jersey
honest,
Devil.
deserts are pretty much the land equivalent of the ocean.
Yeah.
and if you want to sit here and say that the electric pulse thing is ridiculous, there are
There's
several
a lot of
animals
that
that
do.
produce
Look at eels.
electricity.
Eels are the biggest example.
And
Jellyfish too.
jellyfish can do it. Eels, there's several species of eel that can produce
So
electricity.
then-
And by the way, real quick, if you're just looking at them at a glance, wouldn't an eel look kind of like a gigantic worm?
Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, the other thing I'm thinking too is because it's a desert, there is not that much food or water nearby, so you have to.
Be aggressive as shit.
Yeah. And be a certain size.
Usually, the bigger the animal is,
The more
it has
food
to
it
eat.
needs.
But
see, the thing is, supposedly these things are incredibly aggressive, and they'll attack you as soon as see you. Which, yeah, that sounds about right for a 5-foot-long creature living in a desert.
I
mean,
wonder
there are
if it's a snake than anything else. Just like a species of snake that hasn't.
There are snakes in the Gobi Desert, to be fair.
that haven't been properly. Well, then back then they wouldn't have identified it. It would just been.
Yeah.
I mean, there are caecilians.
And
Or
look at how many
Sicilian.
species. Well, one, how many species the human race is extinct, and how many species we haven't even found yet.
Yeah. And caecilians are like about as long as a table. I've never seen one. But
Yeah.
I mean, they really creep me out.
But anyway, the point is that no, these creatures actually, yeah, they seem fairly practical compared to a lot of other cryptids. However, I know that you're going to be not on the show for a minute, so I want you to just know I'm going to get this one in for you. There could be a conspiracy afoot.
There goes his fucking theory.
No. Here's the thing.
I mean, his catchphrase. Sorry, his catchphrase.
So, here's the interesting thing about the Mongolian deathworm. It falls into that same group with, like, the Nightwalkers. If you look these things up now, everyone says you're a dumbass. I did, I went on the internet looking up Mongolian deathworms, and you know what I found? A bunch of articles about a sci-fi movie of the week, and a bunch of top 10 lists written by total experts from college, about 10 types of snakes that the Mongolian deathworm could have confused for. There is this weird pushback when you try to look up or talk about this cryptid, which makes me just wonder, what's your problem? What if I told you the problem was socialists? I'll give you a moment.
Can you send me that?
Follow me.
I just found something worse than socialists.
Anyway, so here's the thing.
It's Sicilian babies.
So, Mongolian deathworms have been talked about in that region since as far back as there has been human life there. There are cave drawings depicting what are believed to be deathworms. 1990, or before 1990, for several years, I want to say decades maybe even, you might be able to help me out with the timing.
I'm not gonna eat for like 5 days.
The Soviet Union controlled Mongolia until 1990. And interest.
Fuck.
That's a Sicilian who had babies. Oh, I'm not gonna eat.
Anyway.
We can throw that up if you
No.
We
want.
No. Anyway.
So there are things called Sicilians.
Yes.
Anyway. Not to cut you off, I was just researching.
Hey, I got an idea. How about I host the show?
Yeah.
Anyway. So, the Soviet Union took over Mongolia. When did they actually take control? Because I know that they officially lost control in 1990. But there was a time when the Soviets controlled Mongolia. And the big claim is that the Soviets wanted that territory for two reasons. One, they wanted it to basically hold it on behalf of their big buddy friends, the Chinese. The other reason is because it was believed that there were huge stashes of natural resources in the Gobi Desert. The Soviet Union never really got anything out of Mongolia. You want to know why? Supposedly, it's because the death worms were there, and the Soviets were not prepared to fight these things.
Shit, they're not even prepared for the fucking
Nope.
the bullshit they've been doing the last 3 years.
It gained independence when the Soviet Union
fell. Yeah, 1990.
Yeah, they.
But when did
Yeah.
they actually? When did the Soviets actually take control of it?
1924. Hold on.
Because anyway, supposedly they took it because they wanted to be friends with China, but also because supposedly there's tons of resources just laying underneath that desert. The problem is that there's 5-foot long death worms between you and whatever might be, extractable. And
Grenades, heavy artillery.
but then you might destroy the resources.
The Soviet Union took Mongolia in 1921 after they defeated the White forces.
Okay.
That
So-
was the Civil War after
so almost-
World War One.
Good God, just shy of 70 years? They controlled
That's a long
Mongolia?
time.
Yeah. And supposedly
Wait, Mongolia?
anyway, but supposedly Russia just could not deal with these creatures, but they also didn't want to acknowledge because the Soviet never lose. The Soviet are unstoppable, right?
It's a repeat.
Right?
Oh, Mongolia fell because they were part of the White Russians.
Yeah.
Look up the Russian Civil War.
But anyway,
Um,
supposedly, rather than admit that they couldn't overcome these death worms, the Soviet basically tried their best to just erase them from erase them from history, black out any reference to these creatures at all. It wasn't until the early 2000s, honestly, that stories of the Mongolian death worms started to resurface. And it is kind of interesting how now, if you try to search them, you get a ton of not Mongolian death worm results. You get a shitty movie from sci-fi. You get, top 10 lists of how there's no Mongolian death worms. And, it's that old Shakespearean quote, doth do protest too much. It's weird. It's like, there's no Mongolian death worms. Why do you feel the need to tell me that? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't have a need to tell you about the monster under your bed, because there isn't one.
But there is the paradise demon that's on top of your chest.
We don't need to hear about your girlfriend, okay? Anyway.
I'm happily single. Fuck you.
aren't we all?
Yeah, happily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
people.
I have an I have an excuse at least. But anyway, no, it is weird how, supposedly a big reason that you didn't hear much about these creatures until only a couple decades ago, and why it's actually kind of difficult to actually even look them up is because of the Soviet.
Yeah, I could see them doing that shit though.
Well, I mean, what are they going to do? Admit that they got the shit kicked out of them by a freaking worm?
That is true.
It's the Soviet. But
They never lose.
no, they never lose. What are you talking
Come,
about?
comrade. We must go defeat the worms.
Anyway, for the record, also, I could totally see the Soviet getting the shit kicked out of them by a bunch of worms. Anyway, though.
Nikolai, no!
What do they use electricity to be Nikolai? No, 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 no. And now that I've royally pissed off Jeff,
Hey, we like the Russian people. We don't like the
oh
communists.
crap! I just realized we're not going to be living up on like a top floor anymore. I do not have my natural defense barrier against him anymore.
He watches these shows, right?
He might. That's what scares me.
You're gonna be in a very safe place. Have to keep more than.
I don't
half
think there's any place safe from that psychopath. You
Half
don't understand.
the people where you guys, more than half of the people where you guys are gonna be going to are gonna own like more than at least 5 firearms.
I don't think bullets can kill him.
Then you're not trying. Then you're not using big enough bullets.
Anyway,
I grew up around.
Our-
like, a
for the
lot of
record,
guns.
we do love our
some
dear. We do love our dear Russian friends. I just have to make fun of socialists at any opportunity.
We
Anyway,
make fun of
guys.
anybody when we're given the opportunity.
Of course,
especially-
we are equal opportunity offenders.
Does Jeff comment on these shows?
Not really, no. That's the part that worries me. He's really quiet.
I am hoping that he's on a plane, just like on his way here to come talk to
Coincidentally.
you guys. Yeah. Shows up. They're in Texas somewhere. I don't know where. They told me, but I'm a dumbass. I completely forgot.
Oh, he has ways of making you talk.
Yeah, he can talk, but how the fuck are you gonna get something out of an idiot?
That's a good point. Anyway, though.
So the population of where we're moving to, 610.
You guys are moving a small town.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are. But anyway.
Oh my God, that means when I come visit, you guys are gonna know where the good fucking diners and shit are at, the mom and pop fucking shops, and we're gonna be hitting the motherfuckers up.
Yeah.
I'm where, yeah.
But anyway, thank you all for watching tonight. Hopefully we get back doing live streams. I kind of like these premiere things, but I do really miss, having the chat actually and talking to people and stuff like that.
We'll still be talking to you live right
Yeah,
now.
we'll be-
I mean,
But it's not the same thing. It's a different experience. It's a whole different thing.
In other words, hi Connie for being the first one on the show.
Hi, Connie. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. I have been your host, Kristoff N. Chester. This is God's favorite beaner, Jesus.
I'll be a
Stop
hot
it with
minute
that.
before you see me.
And of course, over there in the corner, we got the bishop.
yeah, we're recording this February 10th, Monday, 2025. You'll be seeing
No, it's
this.
Oh God, it is Monday.
It is Monday.
My entire fucking schedule's got fucked up.
But hopefully, next
I mean,
time
at least
we.
you have a job. Like,
Hopefully, next time after this episode, we'll actually be live again. But in any case, boys and girls, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting us and being here. And hey, keep checking the shadows. I hate
There we-
this so much.
There we go. That was the ending. That was it. That was it.
I had to, man. It's gonna be a hot minute before I'm on this bitch again.
Well, you need to come down. We're going to be by the Alamo and the Lexington.
Yeah, you need to go with us to the Alamo and just like point at all the rubble and be like, I did that, I did that, I did that.
I didn't do that. When there's an actual like okay wall.
And there's
There was nothing left standing of the Alamo, wasn't it? Burnt like completely to the ground? Or no?
all.
No, because they occupied it.
all the Texas forces were killed.
Except for like a horse.
Yeah, all the men were killed.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Standard procedure when you rebuild something.